What is going on, people? I'm back again with a new hot topic. Alright, the topic today is the origin of tea. Alright, guys, I don't think maybe you may know this, you may not know it, but listen, guys, I think a lot of people won't know this because you never learned this out of school or anywhere else. Because a lot of people may think that's basically tea is been localized only recently, not recently, but like maybe 16, 1700, and then 19, 1800. But the origin of tea, it came from China, and the etymology of the word tea is actually came from the emperor of China named Qi. This is how the word tea came from. And so people may, and then the word has been anglicized into tea. So tea has been anglicized into tea. So how tea got into Europe? Tea got into Europe from the merchants and the Portuguese priests that when they came into contact with tea in the Middle East, in Lebanon and Yemen, and that's how they came into contact and with tea, and they knew of tea, and they said like, all right, they loved it and everything. So after that, uh, in the early 16, late 1700, tea was recorded in the literature in Europe by the Italian Giovanni Battista, and that's how when tea got into Europe and everyone knew of tea in Europe and they start consuming it. So then the British they they wanted to take over the tea trade. So as it's a Chinese origin, so they took the tea and they start growing tea in India, and the East Indian Company took over control of tea in India and Southeast Asia, and how that they start importing a lot of tea into Britain, Europe, other places of the world. And then after that, even in India, so you will never allowed, so an Indian person will never allowed to drink tea unless you have to be an Indian, an Anglo-Indian, anglicized Indian. So if you don't speak Indian or maybe a mixed Indian, you can never really drink tea. This is how and the history of tea in India. So and then Indian right now they start growing tea, and after that everyone will start drinking tea in India. So in Britain here in the 1600, working class, they never really drank tea, and they didn't drink tea because it was very expensive, and it was like upper class, middle class thing. So if you don't have a lot of money, you won't really drink that because it's like a luxury. People consume tea like a luxury thing. So if you're going on a date or you're going in a nice occasion, then or outside in the outing, then you start consuming tea, or drinking tea. So and then that by the I think 17 to 1800, there's a tea act. The tea act was banned. They banned the tea because the British started banning tea because they wanted to wage a war. They wanted to wage a war on Spain. So then they start banning tea because the Chinese also start selling a lot of tea to Europe. So and then there's a heavy taxation in England here and United Kingdom. So after that, then you see uh, there's a growing scale of smugglers, gangs that start to smuggle tea through Dover, through other means, and then they start also through bullying, intimidation, and things like that. So if you in the area, there's one of the biggest gang that they used to smuggle tea in the early 1700s, 1800s was the Hawk, as the Hawkhurst gang. That they were one of the biggest gang around Dorset or Dover. They used to smuggle a lot of tea, and they made a lot of money of that. And and no one's can say anything about them. If you start saying anything about them, they'll come and threaten you, intimidate you, burn your house, and everything like that. So people won't say anything about the gang that they start to smuggle tea, and then I think how tea become popular because a lot of merchants people will start talking about, and say there's a Dutch guy. He said, you know, tea is medicinal, guys, and is good for your health. And if you got headache, also it's good. You can drink it, and you drink tea, you become younger. This is how tea become more popular in England. So it's like a drugs. Everyone start taking drinking tea, and because they start at the beginning, they used to drink it with that sugar, right? But then when the sugar, when they knew of sugar, when the British knew of sugar, then they start putting sugar into the tea only lately by the 19th centuries, or maybe no, late 17th, 18th centuries, sugar and then milk. And there's a lot of argument at that time about this. How can you put this and how can you do this? So it is so, guys. You see the stories of everything that started. So right now, you knew that the origin of tea was started in China. It is a Chinese thing. Then the British took it over, and then they start growing it in India, East Indian, and then the East Indian Company took over the whole trade, and they came over. And tea also lately in the 1700s been banned. It's like a drugs thing. Do you know? It's the same as like when you look at weed today. So weed, it was illegal. If they caught you with it, you go to prison and do everything. But right now, it's been legalized as a medicinal cannabis. So medicinal cannabis, maybe to give it another 10, 20 years, guys, I think you will see it like tea and everything will become cheaper. So this is what has been happening throughout the whole century. So you never know, guys. And I think this is the only things that I need to let you know. So tea, the origin of tea itself, it came from China, guys. And I hope you learned something new today, folks. Peace and love, family.